亲爱的朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看《游历天下》，我是丽丽。今天带您去我的家乡大理去看一看，去发现一个不一样的大理。那么一说到大理，首先我们想到的就是苍山洱海、风花雪月。那的确，大理有着得天独厚的自然环境和气候环境，人们来到大理去寻找的是诗和远方。但是当您离开洱海和大理古城的时候，走进更多的大山深处，你会发现不一样的一个大理。When it comes to Dali, the first places people think of are Jianchuan Mountain and Eryuan Lake, with their breathtaking scenery and romantic stories. Indeed, Dali has a unique natural environment and climate. People come here to look for a temporary retreat away from the bustling world.We'll leave Eryuan Lake and Dali City and go into the deep mountains. You will find a different Dali.
When it comes to Dali, the first places people think of are Sanshan and Ahai, with their breathtaking scenery and romantic stories. Indeed, Dali has a unique natural environment and climate. People come here to look for a temporary retreat away from the bustling world.It may be hard to believe, but Dali is still a poor area. In the eyes of many, Dali is not only comfortable and quiet, but also modern and beautiful. If this is the case, how can Dali be poor in any sense? The truth is, of Dali's 12 counties, 11 of them, with over 500 villages and more than 400,000 people, are still stuck in poverty. When you leave Ahai Lake and go into the deep mountains, you will find a different Dali. It may be hard to believe, but Dali is short of water. Indeed, Yunnan has the third largest water resource in China. Aside from Ahai Lake, the Jinsha, Lansang, Nujiang and Honghe rivers also flow across the land surrounding Dali, which provides abundant water resources. However, the living environment with its low water level and high elevation of settlements results in water shortages. The common people struggle to make use of the river water flowing at the foot of the mountains. Dali's water shortages are seasonal.During the rainy season from June to November, there is plenty of water, but people can't store the water falling from the sky. They have no choice but to endure the drought in the dry season from November to the following May. Water shortages have restricted the development of Dali for a long time. Deju Township of Midu County is a famous old arid area in Dali Prefecture, where the main crops are flue-cured tobacco and corn. However, with few water sources and the difficulty of water retention, water shortage is the root cause of poverty here. Lu Hongde of Shaolihe village is busy in his own tobacco fields. He's going to plant this year's tobacco seedlings. If it doesn't rain until June, tobacco leaves will have to be harvested after the white dew. The prices of tobacco leaves will drop sharply after this time, reducing their income significantly. The villagers' livelihoods are entirely dependent on the weather. In times of severe water shortages, Lu Hongde has to drive a tractor to pull water back from Huayudong, more than 10 kilometres away, in order to solve the water problems for humans, livestock and crop production. Huayudong is a natural underground river with excellent water quality.It's a burden for the villagers on the mountain to collect and drink the water from Huayudong, but there's no other way. It takes half a day to go back and forth to get the water from Huayudong. Only 3 or 4 tons of water can be pulled back each time, which costs more than 100 yuan per ton. For Lu Hongde, water is just as expensive as oil.The people of Heilangji village are from the Yi nationality. Their water resource has historically been reliant on rainfall. when it rains, villager Zhou Jiabing will quickly install his homemade plastic funnel to collect water. He cannot afford to let the precious rainwater flow away. In the village, water for humans and livestock mainly depends on the rainwater that runs off the roofs. Rainwater is collected from the guttering, stored in a water cellar, and can be used after proper precipitation. The rainwater in the ditch is also blocked by soil and diverted to the roadside pond for irrigation. During the severe drought of 2010, the old wells in the village almost dried up. In search of water, Zhou Jiabing and Chu Hongwen, along with several villagers, went to dig the hillside and fetch water from behind the village. Zhou Jiabing was nearly killed by a landslide caused by the digging. Only when the red soil was dug out little by little and the rock was chiselled away did they see a little water. People tried everything they could to look for water. This water shortage led to deeper poverty. In 2015, Xu Xinghao, who graduated from Yunnan Agricultural University, was sent to Dezhu Township by the tobacco company as a village representative. He learned firsthand about the water shortage in Dezhu Township and has been working hard to promote the water pumping project in this area. Dezhu Township mainly features a karst landscape in which it's difficult to conserve water. The water runs down the mountains and collects in Huayudong at the bottom, forming a natural underground river. The water outflow of Huayudong is large and almost unaffected in the dry and rainy seasons. Therefore, it's been the government's strategy to draw the water from Huayudong to benefit the 4 villages in Dezhu Township. In 2018, the solar-powered water pumping project in the north area of Dezhu Township was officially started. A solar power station was built on the hillside to exploit the generally sunny weather conditions in Dali. A pump house and pipelines were built near Huayudong. The water was extracted from 1,415 metres and raised by 716 metres in elevation to reach Jianchuan Reservoir at 2,131 metres. This is also the highest point in the surrounding villages. The water was then diverted downward along a pipeline to the medium-sized and small pools in each village, forming a water supply network feeding the faucets of every household and the water cellars beneath the ground. The water pipes reach all the villages, households and fields. But water management has now become a problem. For this reason, the North Area Water Supply Project Users Association was established in Dezhu Township. 50 villagers from 4 villages were chosen as representatives. Among them were Lu Hongde, Zhou Jiabing and Chu Hongwen. They hope to choose a reliable management company to manage water for them. 4 companies offered different management solutions. Villagers were afraid that the management solutions might be either unwise or unaffordable. Liu Wenshui of Shaoli He village proposed a plan with a reasonable price. According to the principle that the maximum water charge shall not exceed 4.5 yuan per cubic metre, a progressive price scale will be implemented to ensure the water supply will be fairly allocated. At the same time, 50 jiao of the charge will be paid to Huayudong village, where the water resource is located. Another 50 jiao will be used for repair and maintenance to ensure that the water system will work for the foreseeable future. Finally, Liu Wenshui's plan was approved by the villagers. He was voted to take the position of manager. Meanwhile, he also invited other reputable and responsible villagers to run the management company together. After training, Chu Hongwen became the administrator of Heilangji village. Though water pipes are connected to the village, the water supply is cut off sometimes. When Luo Youxiang of Zegula village finds the water does not come out of the faucet, she calls Xu Xinghao, who's in charge of her area. On hearing of this issue, Xu Xinghao immediately contacts Liu Bin, the head of the water station, and Liu Bin informs Liu Wenshui's water management company. Xu Xinghao then travels to the village to check the situation. During his work in the village, the villagers call him whenever they have issues, big and small. Xu Xinghao has established a deep friendship with the villagers and often dines at their homes after work. Luo Youxiang's eldest daughter is a graduate student at Yunnan Agricultural University, and her daughter is a freshman at Yunnan Normal University. It's very difficult for such a poor family to support two college students. As a member of the management company, Chu Hongwen rides a motorcycle up the mountain every morning, as he is responsible for allocating water to all villages in addition to the maintenance of pipes. After receiving the report of a water cut-off, he adjusts the sluice gate to help distribute water to Zegula village. Chu Hongwen is also responsible for the purification of water and regular inspection of water quality. If the faucet in the village is broken, Chu Hongwen will go to repair it. The villagers cherish every drop of water. The solar-powered pumping project started pumping water in January 2019. More than 7,000 villagers in the 13 villages of Taiping, Lifeng, Qingyun and Qingfeng in Deju Township all have safe and clean water to drink now. This project also supplies water for crops and livestock in more than 1,000 hectares of land. The dream of a reliable water supply has come true. The villagers can drink the water of Huayudong, which was unimaginable in the past, solving their most basic survival need. Thanks to the new water supply, the living standards of the villagers have been improved. In the past, the basin of water was used repeatedly in Chu Hongwen's family. Everyone would use it to wash their faces and feet before it went to irrigate the fields. Taking baths was a luxury. But now, every family has built new toilets, installed solar water heaters, and bathing every day is no longer a dream. Only with water can they really develop industry to get rid of poverty and increase their income. Nowadays, faucets are installed in the fields where water use is metered. For Lu Hongde, he can use water in a planned way instead of relying on the weather for a living. The quality of more than 10,000 tobacco seedlings this year is much better than that of previous years, and the output has doubled. With water, the villagers of Shaolihe can develop their livestock industry. Lu Hongde's wife now raises more than a dozen cattle, and his parents also raise pigs and donkeys at home. Lu Hongxing from the same village has even set up a farm. When there was no water, no one dared to think about this business. It was difficult for people to drink water, let alone breed livestock. But now, the breeding industry can bring him considerable income. Xu Xinghao got married in the second month after he came to the village. He didn't expect to stay here for 6 years, spending little time with his wife. His wife has just had twins, so he goes home more often to see the children. Deju Township of Midu County has solved its historic water shortage, so that the villagers can really get out of poverty. The next generations of Deju Township have the hope for a better future. Shangtu Township in Jianchuan County is located in a cold and remote mountain area, which is only a mountain away from Dali Prefecture. The place is home to large areas of alpine meadow and virgin forest, where herds of cattle and sheep graze. It's known as the Little Tibet of Dali. Although the scenery is beautiful, Shangtu was very remote. Even in the mid-1980s, there was no decent road leading to Shangtu, and the roads in the village were all muddy. The lack of roads is the main reason for Shangtu's poverty. People used to walk in and out of Shangtu by taking a path through the mountains, so there was an emergency shelter built at the top of the mountain pass in case of bad weather. In winter, when people climbed over the mountains, they would warm up and rest in the shelter and leave some potatoes and sliced dried meat for future climbers. Without this food and a charcoal fire, people could freeze to death on the road. Among the mountains lies a traditional village called Shangtu Village. Because traffic is blocked and there is little communication with the outside world, it has maintained its traditional appearance. Heqing, a Shangtu villager, leads his 2 mules along a path to his field. In the past, the mode of transportation here was very primitive. Every family raised mules and horses to carry their goods. The isolation of Shangtu village has helped it maintain its traditional appearance with little impact from the outside world. There are some wooden stack houses, and the old streets and alleys remain the same. An ancient well in the village is still a necessity for the villagers' daily life, with which people can wash clothes and vegetables. On the village stage, people still celebrate the Chinese New Year by performing their traditional opera for 3 days. Life here seems to be a continuation of past traditions, but it has many hidden problems. If you go deep into the village, you will find that many houses have been abandoned by their owners. Some of them have dilapidated roofs or have collapsed totally. Farmers want to improve their lives and move into new modern houses. However, traditional villages like Shangtu need to be protected due to their cultural and historical value, and hence conflicts arise. The well-off villagers have built various new houses with ceramic tiles and cement, which destroys the overall appearance of the village. Reaching a balance between protection and development is a problem for the villagers of Shangtu. Heqing is building a new house. The construction materials need to be carried by 2 mules from his current home. The high transport costs increase the cost of these raw materials. In the past, Heqing mainly used mules to transport goods for others. His wife, Li Shuangmei, grew corn on a small piece of land, earning a meagre income. Their 2 daughters went to university, placing an economic burden on the family. Without the state education subsidy, it will be very difficult for them to support 2 college students. After the Zhelei company was founded, Li Shuangmei went to work at the company's base, which increased her income considerably and reduced some of the financial burden on the family. Every morning, Li Shuangmei prepares her lunch, has breakfast with her husband, and feeds the pigs at home before going to work. At 8 o'clock, Li Shuangmei joins up with other women workers at the village entrance to go up the mountain together. They climb this path every day. Although there is a road from the village to the Zhelei company, it takes longer to go by bus. When it rains, the bus may not be able to climb the mountain. Therefore, they'd rather take the path. It takes more than an hour to climb from Shangtu village to the Zhelei base on the mountain. The climb becomes even more difficult on rainy days. But for these women workers, climbing up the mountain to work every day has become routine. The women workers gather from different villages to start a day's work. Once the rainy season arrives, weeds will grow rapidly, which will affect the growth of the medicinal herbs in the fields. The main task of women workers is to pull up these weeds. They can earn 80 yuan for 8 hours work each day. Since they have to work in the mountains all day, everyone brings her own lunch. They set up firewood piles at the edge of the field, light the fire, burn the wood into charcoal, and put each lunchbox into the charcoal fire so they can heat the food, drink hot water, and eat a warm meal in the field. They spend more than half the year working here and go back to manage their own fields in the farming season. After finishing work and returning home, they will have household work to do. They still lead tough lives. But these women are content with this job, since it's close to their home with a monthly salary of 2,400 yuan, and it allows them to take care of their families. Li Jianchuan, general manager of Zhelei company, also came to the base today to have dinner with the women workers. Li Jianchuan, a native of Jiangtou village in Shangtu, returned to his hometown to start his own business in 2012. His father is a famous doctor of traditional Chinese medicine in Jianchuan area, so he wanted to develop the Chinese herbal medicine industry in his hometown. At present, his base has expanded to over 860 hectares, mainly planting purple salvia as well as angelica, gentiana, astragalus, codonopis and others. The annual labour force is more than 50,000 people. He has thus become an industry leader in Shangtu. Li Jianchuan lives in the base of Shangtu village and drives to the base of Jiantou new village. The dirt road on the mountain can become very muddy once it rains. It's common for the car to get stuck in the mud and become immobilised. The bad road has been a headache for Li Jianchuan as it limits the further development of his company. His next plan is to build roads. If they get stuck, they've no choice but to abandon the car. They can take the path up the mountain, but there are many leeches here. When people pass by, the leeches jump onto their body, but Li Jianchuan is used to it. The company's base production relies on the local water system to bring the water from the reservoir for irrigation. Li Jianchuan plans to install advanced drip irrigation equipment at the base. In the future, it will only take one person and a gate valve to control the irrigation system of the base, saving a lot of time and the cost of manual irrigation. No pesticides or fertilizers are used for planting here. Only organic fertilizer is applied. The workers compost the weeds so as to ensure the Chinese herbal medicine is superior in quality and pollution-free. The villagers learn skills while working at the base. In the future, Li Jianchuan plans to contract the herbal medicine base to the villagers for planting management. When growing Chinese herbal medicine becomes the villagers' own business, they will be more active in their work. Li Jianchuan can also save a lot of labour expenses, provide technical guidance to the villagers and finance purchases, so that the villagers will have no worries about their farm work, which will help alleviate poverty. War and his wife and more than 20 villagers from Jiangtou New Village also work at Zhelei Company. After a day's work, War and his wife drive their car along the stone road in the mountains. There's a 20-kilometre stone road and a bridge across the Shantou River, which was built from the assistance of a partner in Pudong, Shanghai. There are 3 villages along the Shantou River. In the past, if people wanted to go to the village for business or school, they'd have to go down the mountain first, take a single wooden bridge, cross the river, and then go up the mountain. It would take 2 or 3 hours to get there. With the roads and bridges, the lives of the villagers are much more convenient. War and his wife drive back to their home in Jiangtou New Village. This is the relocation site of Shantou Township. The Bai, Yi and Lisu ethnic villagers scattered on the nearby mountains are gathered in Jiangtou New Village, 2,700 metres above sea level. War has a son and a daughter, and their grandparents live under the same roof with them. His family of 6 used to live at an altitude of more than 3,100 metres. There were no smooth roads, only a winding muddy path, making it inconvenient for daily life, visiting doctors and the daily trip to school. Nowadays, the 2 children do not need to be escorted by adults, as they can walk for a few minutes to get to school. Grandpa's daily work is to herd cattle on the mountain. He goes back to his old house, which has been demolished and is no longer habitable. But some wooden stack houses have been left for protection. They've stacked farm tools and feed here to raise chickens and cattle. The grandfather rests here sometimes. He's lived here most of his life. Although he is quite attached to the place, he knows that the mountains are high and the roads are blocked. For young people, there is no hope of development in this place. Only by living down the mountain can children receive a better education. Now, Lord Ye, Lord Yen and other children in the village can go to school nearby. In the newly built Jiangtou New Village Primary School, there are 1st grade, 2nd grade and kindergarten classes. When students finish 2nd grade, they will go to the township to continue into 3rd grade. Yang Sheng, a teacher of Lisu nationality, also lives in Jiangtou New Village. He's been teaching for more than 20 years and is deeply loved by nearby villagers. Yang Sheng also used to teach at a school on the mountaintop with only 1 classroom, 1 kitchen and 1 teacher teaching 7 or 8 children. Taking into account of the children living on both sides of the mountain, the school was built in between. Even so, the children had to climb for more than an hour every day to go to school because there were no roads, only some footpaths leading them to the top of the mountain. After the new school was built, 3 teachers and 32 children from several villages were combined to have classes, improving the quality of school facilities and teaching. In addition to teaching, Yang Sheng and his wife are also responsible for making lunch for the students every day. Yang Sheng also taught the first student from Shantou to enter a top-ranked middle school, Shaguan No. 1 Middle School. For children in mountainous areas, improving the learning environment and receiving basic education is the key to getting rid of poverty. For a long time, the road to school was so long that many students had to drop out of school. Each generation passed on poverty to the next. Only when schools are built and students are allowed to go to school nearby can students' right to education be guaranteed. Lord Ye's grandmother felt a little under the weather today. She went to see a doctor in the village clinic. There are 3 doctors in the health centre who can cure some minor ailments for the villagers. When seriously ill, the villagers go to the township and county hospitals. With the roads built, vendors from the town will often sell things in the mountains so that villagers can buy fresh fruits and vegetables at their homes. When Grandpa comes home from herding cattle, he usually warms himself by the fire in the wooden stack house next to his new home, which is his favourite place to relax every day. The wooden stack houses in Jianchuan New Village are all built from the old houses demolished by villagers. In the process of relocation, the government took the traditional way of life into account. Shangtu is cold in winter and rainy in summer. The villagers' daily life is inseparable from the fireplace, with which they can make their staple food, smoked bacon. In fact, the preservation of the wooden stack houses is out of respect for the villagers' traditional way of living. On the other hand, the villagers are also changing their habits. In the past, people and livestock lived under the same roof, but now a new pig farm has been built outside the village, allowing each household to have a fence, separating people and their livestock. At the same time, 5 fixed garbage incineration areas have been built in the village so that the villagers' domestic garbage can be disposed of directly. A sewage discharge system was also built in the village to separate the rain from the sewage, making the village clean. Every household has solar installations and clean bathrooms, greatly improving the health of the villagers. Now, Li Jiayun has started building roads at Zhilei Base. He plans to pave all the roads inside the base, making it more convenient to go up and down the mountain. He is well aware that only when roads are built can he develop the local industry better. Shangtu village is building a road to the village. People here know that traditional villages like Shangtu have the possibility of developing tourism in the future. After village roads are levelled and paved with stone slabs, the village will be tidy and beautiful, making it more comfortable for visitors. A road is being built next to Jiangtou New Village, extending from Shangtu Township all the way into Jianchuan County. It will be the main road in and out of Shangtu. There's an old saying, if you want to get rich, build a road first. People in Shangtu know very well what roads mean to them. Roads are being built with which communication between Shangtu and the outside world will become more frequent. Young people have more opportunities to get out of the mountains, to see the infinite possibilities in other places, and tourists from outside can also come to see the beauty of Little Tibet. There is a small Bai village called Chaorendian in Xiyi Town, Heqing County, Dali. It's located at the foot of Mount Ma at an altitude of 2,650 metres. In the past, due to inconvenient transportation, the village was backward and living conditions here were very hard. It was called the Land of Poverty by outsiders. Corn and white kidney beans are the staple crops here. After graduating from junior high school, Sun Shuangfu, a villager, worked as a carpenter's apprentice for 3 years. Later, he went to work in an electronics factory in Shenzhen, but had to come back to his hometown because his father was seriously ill. His family was classified as poverty-stricken due to illness. At the time, the courtyard economy was being vigorously promoted, and Paris Polyfiller, a medicinal herb with high economic value, was chosen to be the main crop for courtyard planting in the township. Sun Shuangfu began to learn how to grow seedlings and gradually grasped farming skills. He could take care of his sick father at home whilst doing his agricultural work. In recent years, many tourists have come to Mount Ma for hiking, which gave Sun Shuangfu a business opportunity. He used his carpentry expertise to transform the original livestock house into the first restaurant in the village. He collected a lot of old things that farmers no longer needed, arranged them in his own restaurant and transformed his brother's house into a guest house. These changes to the family's courtyard have greatly improved their income, helping lift them out of poverty. Now people from outside can easily come to Chaorendian after rural highways were built. Every year, many tourists come to Mount Ma for hiking. Sun Shuangfu's restaurant and guest house have become their first choice for eating and sleeping. In recent years, the roads in the village have been paved. Hygiene has improved a lot, which makes the environment pleasant for tourists. Though simple, Sun Shuangfu's guest house is clean and tidy with very reasonable prices. Since the guests want to find a villager to take them to Mount Ma, Sun Shuangfu takes them to Sun Sanwei's house in the same village. As a village ranger, Sun Sanwei is familiar with the paths and landscapes on Mount Ma. He often provides guide services for Sun Shuangfu's guests. Sun Sanwei's family were very poor due to lack of money and technology. With the help of the poverty alleviation policy, he's been planting Paris polyfiller in his courtyard, increasing income by more than 30,000 yuan per year. Sun Sanwei's second daughter was admitted to Yunnan Agricultural University in 2018. Because her family is classified as poverty-stricken, she enjoys a grant of 5,000 yuan a year. His elder daughter works in a canteen of a government organisation. Now the whole family's income is stable and a new house has been built next to the old one. Sun Sanwei and his guests climb up the stream from the valley behind the village. For a city dweller, it's a joy to see such a clear stream. The vegetation of Mount Ma is very beautiful with many ancient trees. Only the local villagers know the paths hidden in the forest. Without a guide, people from outside the area may easily get lost. During the rainy season, numerous mushrooms and bamboo shoots grow on the mountain. On the way up the mountain, Sun Sanwei can also pick a lot of mushrooms to increase his income. Although mushrooms come in different shapes and sizes, Sun Sanwei can accurately identify which of them are edible. He shares a lot of knowledge with the guests that can't be learned in the city. It takes 2 hours to climb from Chaorendian village to the top of the mountain, but the guests will forget their tiredness once they see the beautiful scenery. Mount Ma is over 3,000 metres above sea level with more than 10 square kilometres of rhododendron groves. There are around 10 species of rhododendron, including Rhododendron giganteum, dwarf, broad-leaved and small-leaf rhododendron. The flowers of these plants feature colours of scarlet, purple, red, pink, orange yellow, light yellow and milky white. In the late spring and early summer, the hillside will be carpeted with flowers in full bloom. In winter, the scenery is even more spectacular. Tourists from all over the country come here to enjoy the flowers in spring and summer and the snow in winter. Sun Sanwei takes the guests to Tiancha Lake at the top of the mountain, where they will set up tents to enjoy the fun of camping in the meadow. While the guests are enjoying themselves, Sun Sanwei will go up the mountains to find his own cattle. Raising more than 10 cattle, his family often scatters the cattle in the mountains in the summer and feeds them salt every 1 to 2 weeks. While looking for his cattle, Sun Sanwei also inspects the forest for illegal felling to prevent mountain fires in winter. This earns him 500 yuan a month as a forest ranger. In the village, Sun Shuangfu and his wife begin to prepare dinner for the tourists. The wife pulls out fresh radishes in her own field, and Sun Shuangfu comes to a natural meadow near the village, where tourists often come to camp and barbecue. Under the ancient trees beside the meadow, there lies a natural spring called Longtan, or Dragon Pool, which boasts superb water quality. Sun Shuangfu draws some water celery by the spring to prepare for dinner. Sun Shuangfu comes to his neighbour Zhang Qiying's house and orders wine to entertain tourists. After getting married in Chaorendian, Zhang Qiying learned winemaking techniques from her family elders. Xiyi area is famous for barley wine, which many locals brew by themselves. With the help of government funds, Zhang Qiying set up a small distillery at home. The wine brewed with the spring water of Mount Ma is very famous, attracting many customers. The annual income from winemaking is around 30,000 yuan. In addition to the 1 acre of white kidney beans planted at home, winemaking provides important income for her family. Zhang Qiying's husband works in the city, and her son and daughter study at Xiyi Primary School. Every Friday, Zhang Qiying takes the children home. The 2 children will help with the housework and feed the pigs and cows. Zhang Qiying also makes use of the house walls, tending 4 or 5 beehives, with an annual income of 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. With the joint efforts of Zhang Qiying and her husband Sun Yinggui, they have managed to shake off poverty. The development of family business has improved Zhang Qiying's life and helped her family progressively richer. Sun Shuangfu's restaurant is famous for its ingredients, all of which are the freshest available. The radish is boiled with water and has a sweet taste. The small wild bamboo shoots picked at the mountain can only be eaten in this season with a crisp and tender taste. The root of water celery is removed, leaving only the tender tip. Sichuan pepper is mixed with oil to make a cold dish of wild bamboo shoots and water celery. The white kidney beans, grown in the village, are cooked with stewed pig feet. Besides, Sun Shuangfu's restaurant serves a delicacy that is rare for people outside the area. The Paris polyfiller, freshly pulled from the ground, is washed clean and cut into slices and then stewed with local chicken. Sun Shuangfu's home is also the purchasing station for wild mushrooms in the village. In the 3 or 4 months of the rainy season, wild mushrooms are an important source of income for the villagers. Tourists who have been roaming the place for a whole day now follow Sun Sanwei down the mountain into the setting sun, looking forward to a sumptuous dinner. Not only has he earned money as a guide, he's also brought back a basket full of wild mushrooms which add to his income. Chaorendian vividly demonstrates how people can live off the mountain. The freshly picked agarwood mushrooms can be made into sashimi. The dried bamboo mushrooms are fried to make a dish that goes well with wine. The mushrooms are diced and mixed with eggs to make a steamed omelette. The homemade bacon can be fried with boletus mushrooms, which is the best dish to show off their flavour. A meal of 4 different mushrooms is a showcase for Dali cooking methods. It's a rare opportunity for people from the city to enjoy such authentic delicacies and herbs in this small mountain village. At this time, Jianchuan shows up with the home-brewed wine. The guests who have been walking all day can drink a little wine to relieve their tiredness. Good wine and food should always be enjoyed with entertainment. Sun Shuangfu's brother takes the village women to perform the traditional Bai dance for the guests. People in Chaorendian explore every aspect of their mountain village and its surroundings, making their life colourful. They've said goodbye to the previous land of poverty. Now they can say with pride to outsiders they are natives of Chaorendian. In Dali, there are many villages, like Chaorendian, hidden in the depths of the mountains. Argai ethnic village in Weishan County is another typical poverty-stricken village in the high and cold mountainous area. The lack of cultivated land has fundamentally restricted their development. Having a family of 6, Ape Ming used to earn money by working in the city. His wife grew kidney beans and walnuts at home, but their income was limited. When their eldest daughter went to college, his family was classified as a poverty-stricken household due to the burden of tuition fees. Later, some villagers found the wild Paris polyphilla on the mountains. It was easy to grow after being transplanted into the farm's courtyard along with the mountain soil. With the support of government funds, Ape Ming also began to plant Paris polyphilla. The planting area is constantly expanding from inside the courtyard to outside, bringing him a good income. Before long, he shook off poverty and became a village leader. However, planting a single crop can be risky. Only by planting multiple crops can the risk be avoided. In response to the policy of returning farmland to forest, the villagers planted a large number of cash crop trees, including walnuts and almond pines, in mountainous areas. Trees are also planted outside the courtyard of Ape Ming's home, which not only reforests the mountain, but also provides pine nuts that have economic value. Dozens of beehives are also cultivated under the almond pines. The annual income from honey is considerable, which helps pay the university tuition for Ape Ming's daughter. During the rainy season, the mushrooms from the mountain are a gift from the earth. After being washed and barbecued over a charcoal fire, the mushrooms can sell for a good price in the market. Ape Ming's mother is in charge of the family's breeding industry. They not only raise chickens, ducks and geese, but also large livestock like donkeys. Every household in the village raises donkeys, which have become a feature of Arga village. Making use of limited land, every family in Arga village plants white kidney beans under walnut trees, grows Paris polyphilla around the houses, and keeps bees under almond pines. In line with local conditions, they fully explore the open space around the houses and develop a dynamic courtyard economy, realising the goals of ecological poverty alleviation. Located in the east of Dali, Binchuan County is on the south bank of the Jianchuan River in a hot and dry valley area, which is more than 1,400 metres above sea level. The weather is hot and dry here, with an average annual rainfall of less than 500 millimetres. Because of droughts, there are many slopes with only wild grass, unsuitable for trees and crop growth, forming a series of barren mountains. But Binchuan has long hours of sunshine and a large temperature difference between day and night, forming a natural greenhouse that is perfect for growing fruit. Zheng Jingyu and his younger brother, Zheng Jianchuan, a native of Binchuan people, their grandfather once lived in this old house and guarded the barren mountain. With the poor soil here, farmers can't even recover the cost of crop planting and thus have to abandon some of the fields. Zheng Jingyu and his brother have been devoted to agriculture for many years, and they want to make use of this barren mountain. They invested a lot of money in the early stages and transformed more than 660 hectares of barren hillside land. Many people think they're crazy and laugh at them, but they think the climate is ideal for citrus growth and want to develop modern agriculture here. This needs the support of science and technology. They hired Yao Baofen from the horticultural station of Binchuan County. Yao Baofen, a senior agronomist, graduated from Yunnan Agricultural University 30 years ago and has been involved in fruit research ever since. Their goal is to grow high-quality Aura oranges. Zheng Jingyu has invested heavily in building roads, reconstructing the soil, bringing water from the Huachao Reservoir 10 kilometres away, and building water tanks and supply networks. With the introduction of Israel's advanced water-saving drip irrigation system to achieve scientific and efficient irrigation. They use water supply pipes to pump water up the mountain so that fruit trees can be planted there. Though previously considered impossible to grow anything, the barren mountain is gradually becoming carpeted with fruit trees. Here, a spectacular citrus orchard spanning over 660 hectares has taken shape. Zheng Jingyu and his brother have built a modern agricultural enterprise. Today, the younger brother, Zheng Jianchuan, still works in the orchard every day, as there are many more barren mountains waiting for them to exploit. A large number of workers are needed here every year. Farmers nearby often come here for seasonal work and manual weeding. At the same time, the management of fruit trees also requires a lot of skilled workers. Dividing the orchard into units of 6.5 acres, they have recruited workers from poor households in nearby villages to help alleviate poverty. Du Guanzu's family came to the base in 2018, with her daughter attending a primary school nearby. They were classified as a poverty-stricken household lacking skills, capital and stable income. They now live in staff accommodation with 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen and a bathroom. Unlike the small peasant economy of a single household, the work in the orchard requires technical expertise. Du Guanzu understands both the technology and management to take care of their 5.6 acres of land. Before the orchard bears fruit, there's a minimum income of more than 60,000 yuan, which guarantees the livelihood of Du Guanzu's family. After 3 years of fruit production, there will also be commission paid based on crop yields. When the couple is too busy with the work in the orchard, they will employ some villagers to help. They have also become managers and will calculate every expense carefully. The orchard managed by Du Guanzu and his family has expanded from 6.5 acres in the first year with an income of over 60,000 yuan to 20 acres now with a basic income of over 100,000 yuan, which is several times more than that in their old home. Many families working here have brought cars and will drive back to their hometown to celebrate their prosperity during holidays. Since the construction of the 660-hectare citrus orchard began, Yao Baofeng visits the orchard every 3 to 5 days, teaching the farmers the skills required to plant the fruit trees. Du Guanzu and his wife did not have any skills or knowledge at the start, but with the patient guidance of Yao Baofeng, they have now become experts in citrus tree planting and manage their orchard in a professional and orderly manner. Aside from teaching skills in the 66-hectare citrus orchard, Yao Baofeng also helps farmers in other orchards. In Nisa village, she instructs villager Li Xujuan and his wife to scientifically fertilize pomegranate fields. The villagers here have frequent contact with the technicians of the horticultural station because they do not know how to plant fruit trees and need technical guidance. Nisa village is a relocation spot for targeted poverty alleviation in Binchuan County. Most of the villagers are Lisu and Yi people who have moved from the high mountain valley of the Jinsha River. In the past, they could only grow some corn on the limited land in the high mountains. Now, the government not only provides the villagers with housing, but also offers them opportunities for industrial development. Citrus, pomegranates and grapes with higher economic value are planted around the village. But it's difficult for them to change their mindset as they have been planting corn on the mountain for generations. They feel confident only when planting corn and still doubt whether fruit planting can bring income. When the pomegranates had just been planted, Li Xujuan secretly planted some corn in the middle of the pomegranate field, despite the technician's suggestion. The corn grew tall, blocking the sun, and competed with the pomegranates for nutrients in the soil. When the pomegranate trees bore fruit, he found that the quality of his pomegranates was much poorer than those from other families, bringing a significantly reduced income. After several years of planting, the villagers have found that income from fruit planting is much higher than that from corn planting and have fundamentally changed their mindset. Nowadays, the villagers are full of hope and confidence to alleviate poverty and become richer by developing industry. Yao Baofeng has come to Jingfanghui Pomegranate Experimental Base, where a Pomegranate Research Association meeting is being held. Yan Hu is the president of the Pomegranate Research Association, which was set up 20 years ago. As a native of Lijiao town in Binchuan, he has devoted his life to the cultivation of pomegranates in his hometown. In 2014, Yan Hu contracted the land on Mau Mau Mountain in Lijiao town. Mau Mau Mountain is dry all the year round, as the slopes range from 30 to 70 degrees. Water and soil conservation is difficult, so the villagers don't choose to plant crops here. But Yan Hu thinks this is an advantage of Mau Mau Mountain. Although the soil is dry and barren, it has never been eroded by chemical fertilizers and pesticides. With scientific methods to cultivate the soil and pump water up the mountain, large-scale fruit tree planting can be developed. After building roads and a water pumping system, he built a large reservoir on the top of the mountain and smaller ones down the way, connecting the drip irrigation system to the steep slope, where pomegranates are planted layer by layer, like terraced fields. At first, Yanhu's pomegranate orchard covered only 3 acres at the foot of Mau Mau Mountain, but slowly the fruit trees began to climb up the mountain little by little. Now some of the trees have climbed to the top, and Yanhu's plan is to let the fruit trees cover Mau Mau Mountain and turn the barren mountain green. Now they have built more than 130 hectares of high-quality pomegranate orchards. Yanhu's enterprise also needs to recruit a large number of workers. Luo Yuneng and Li Shumei are a couple from the nearby village. Regularly working here, they have been transformed from farmers into agricultural workers and have become members of a modern agricultural enterprise. A scientific drip irrigation system and only farm manure is used to grow pomegranates in Mau Mau Mountain. The soft seed pomegranates produced here makes Mau Mau Mountain known far and wide. Yanhu hopes that his base can produce the best pomegranates in the world, making pomegranates from Mau Mau Mountain a speciality in Binchuan. Yanhu's Jinfenghui base also has its own packaging workshop, where fresh pomegranates will be quickly packed overnight and sent to a distribution centre. With more than 250 villagers employed here, the place also features large-scale cold storage buildings and fresh fruit wholesale markets, which can purchase and sell fruits planted by farmers. Modern cold chain logistics allows Binchuan pomegranates to reach consumers in the fastest time, and even to be exported overseas. Due to the lack of water resources, the previous project of diverting Ahai Lake to Binchuan has solved the irrigation problem. However, in order to protect Ahai Lake, an alternative project of diverting water from the river to Binchuan has been implemented. Taking Ludila hydropower station as the starting point, the Jinsha river water will be lifted and introduced into Binchuan using the power of Ludila, with a total length of more than 100 kilometres. After completion, water shortages for agricultural irrigation in Binchuan will be avoided, allowing the fruit industry to develop continuously and healthily. With water available, Yanhu's pomegranate garden can continue to develop from Mau Mau Mountain to the surrounding barren mountains, and Zhengjingyu's 660 hectare citrus orchard can continue to expand in scale. In Binchuan, there are many such barren mountains where the project of fruit tree planting is being implemented. In the near future, these barren mountains will gradually turn green. The Fengyu Plain of Eryuan County is surrounded by the Tianma and Luoping Mountains and the Yunong Peak of the Sangchang Mountain. The Fengyu River, one of the sources of Ahai Lake, flows through the entire plain. Because of the rich water resources, rice is widely planted here. In order to protect Ahai Lake, ecological agriculture has been vigorously developed here in recent years. At the same time, on both sides of the Fengyu River, farmland was abandoned and a large number of wetlands were established, forming 3 major wetlands, namely Dajian River, Qingluogo and Meiye River, which can conserve and purify water. The tailwater of rice fields is introduced into an isolation zone and treated in a water purification pond before flowing into the Fengyu River, playing a vital role in protecting water resources. Rice planting has a long history in the Fengyu Plain, and red rice is one of the special products here. Due to very specific conditions needed for red rice growing, it's not possible to use chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Only a small amount of farm manure and organic fertilizer can be used. However, with the low yield and low price, Fengyu villagers gradually gave up planting it. Young Jiofan of Zhuangchang village used to be poor, working in Guangzhou to earn money. In 2014, he returned from the city and replanted red rice with his wife. because the Mancheng farm started to buy hulled red rice for 18 to 24,000 yuan per acre. Given this high purchase price, farmers were motivated to plant red rice. Starting from about half an acre, Jianchuan has mobilised the other 30 farmers to expand the planting of red rice to over 16 acres and become a wealthy village pioneer. The village's collective mountain will be covered with mushrooms in the rainy season. Jianchuan will hire 40 or 50 villagers to help picking them on the mountain. He has also developed his own chicken farm to diversify his business methods, steadily increasing his family income. In an agricultural cooperative set up by the village, Jianchuan is responsible for purchasing small red chilies and green plums planted by the villagers to help them increase sales. Jianchuan has gradually got rid of poverty by farming in his hometown. More than 300 poor households in Zhuangshang village have been lifted out of poverty. Most villages in Fengyu grow rice in summer and canola flowers in winter, which are used to extract oil. Jianchuan will send his own rapeseed to Eryuan processing plant in Fortung village. Wang Kaifu, the director of the factory, was a member of the post-90s generation. He majored in food safety at Yunnan Agricultural University and became the first college student to go back to his hometown to start a business. After staying in the factory for 7 years, he has applied his knowledge to his work. With strict quality control, he selects the high-quality Fengyu rape seeds and uses physical cold pressing to exclude any additive, hoping to make natural vegetable oil with rich nutrients. This year, Wang Kaifu will get married in Fengyu. His perseverance has given villagers more confidence and made young people see the hope of returning home for development. Chen Daizhang, the investor of the processing plant, hopes to turn Fengyu's product into a popular, high-end health food brand. Chen Daizhang is of binationality from Fortung village in Fengyu. His mother has always lived in the old family house and will burn incense and worship in front of the door and in the courtyard every day. Chen Daizhang used to be the president of the Dali Old Town sub-branch of China Construction Bank, but he has always wanted to do something for his hometown. Encouraged by his friend Feng Xingchang, he resigned his 12-year post as president and returned to his hometown. He was determined to establish modern agriculture and lead the villagers to get rid of poverty. As a returning talent, Chen Daizhang was appointed as the village official of Fortung village. He led the whole village to improve hygiene and renovate the appearance of the village. He's also organised the villagers to set up a village governance committee so that the villagers can participate in village affairs, take part in construction, governance and in decisions about how to share Fortung village's resources. Chen Daizhang hopes that the products planted in his hometown can be sold at better prices so that people can regain their dignity and love of the land. Having seen the outside world, he has combined modern agriculture with industry with the help of various external resources. Now, he's transformed more than 260 hectares of barren mountains, promoted Fengyu's intensive agriculture and built production lines for rapeseed oil, walnut cake, pear cake and honey. Jianchuan's red rice is one of his specialty agricultural products. Chen Daizhang puts great effort into promoting the products of his hometown Fengyu. Through his live broadcast, where he sells the village goods, he helps improve villagers' lives. Feng Xingchang, Chen Daizhang's business partner, has resigned from the post of editor-in-chief of News Weekly and went to Fengyu for farming. In Fortung village, Feng Xingchang has asked Bai architect Ba Xuan to design a house named Retreat Hall. The name comes from a Zen poem. Peace is to purify mind. Retreat is to step forward. Retreating and advancing lighten the burden of life, calm your heart and relax your body, providing peace of mind. Feng Xinqiang and Chen Daijiang have visited many villages in Japan and Taiwan, hoping to build Fengyu into a new type of rural tourism destination that integrates cultural creativity, art, ancient village protection, leisure and agriculture. For them, getting rid of poverty is only the first step, and the ultimate goal is to revitalise the countryside. In Feng Xinqiang's eyes, the countryside can make people feel calm and nostalgic, with feelings of warmth, aspiration and poetry. Agriculture here is new, fashionable, creative and valuable. The people here are pursuing a slow and artistic lifestyle. The farmers have cultivated the land and unconsciously created a work of art. From editing a magazine to sculpting the earth, Feng Xinqiang wants to take the whole Fengyu County as an art scene and create an Earth Art Festival and open-air art museum with unique Fengyu characteristics. Feng Xinqiang and Chen Daijiang found a local artist named Zhou Jianchuan, hoping that he can impart his artistic vision to this land. As an artist who married a native of Fengyu, Zhou Jianchuan used to carve horses in the style of the Bai nationality and draw pictures with grains. Chen Daijiang has vacated his old house and let Zhou Jianchuan do his creative work here. Zhou Jianchuan's works also have a connection and resonance with the land and the life here. Later inspired by Feng Xinqiang, Zhou Jianchuan has completely opened his mind and begun to create works different from the past. After making a white horse out of steel in the upper courtyard of Retreat Hall, he has also created 8 white horses in the wetlands. 8 white horses fly down from Mount Tianma in different shapes, stepping on waves. He has also created 3 apples in the field, using Fengyu's land as his canvas. In addition to local artists in Fengyu, Feng Xinqiang often goes to the valley to visit 2 artists from France. The husband, Michel, a musician from Provence, and his wife, Catherine, from Paris, used to paint pictures and make documentaries. Far away from the modern city, they only pursue the simple life in Fengyu with very low material requirements. They're both vegetarians and usually eat vegetables grown in their own yard, as wild vegetables are their favourite. They love nature and live in the deserted houses of the villagers. With only the simplest renovation to shelter from the wind and rain, they have a very comfortable life. Michelle and Catherine's lifestyle aligns well with the concept of a slow lifestyle put forward by Feng Xinqiang. Using the house for art creation, Michelle occasionally goes out to perform, while Catherine sometimes goes to meet friends in the town or teach young people to make French pastry in the Slow Life Institute in Baimicang. Baimicang is a youth cultural and creative park developed by Chen Daijiang and Feng Xinqiang, which is located in the renovated Fengyu No. 2 Middle School that was previously abandoned. They've turned the classrooms into Shenma Youth Hotel and Sunny Day Creative Market, which have become home to returning college students who want to start their own businesses. This space has inspired new creative ideas in Zhou Jianchuan. His new work, Double-Faced Hercules, on the basketball court is almost complete. Weishan, the manager of Shenma Youth Hotel, is a graduate of Yunnan Art College, majoring in printmaking. The mural, Feather of Phoenix, she created for Baimicang is very famous, which adds a lot of fantastic colour to Fengyu. In addition to her own creative products, Weishan is also responsible for training local villagers to become qualified hotel waiters. Every holiday, there will be children coming here to join a summer camp. Weishan, together with Michelle and Catherine, often come to help and play games with the children. In addition to the transformation of Bai Mi-Cang, Chen Daizheng and Fang Xinchang have also found the abandoned Dajiankou village in the mountains, which is called Prayer Village in the Bai language. Its villagers have all moved to live at the foot of the mountain. The stone-based houses still retain their former structure. Keeping the ruins as they are, Fang Xinchang has asked Bai architect Binchuan to build a stargazing restaurant on the ruins of Prayer Village. The dilapidated earth walls are perfectly integrated with a modern structure of steel and glass, constructing a space both ancient and modern. This is their first regeneration and remodelling project, which is also the main base for cultural and creative development. As an architect, Binchuan has a strong utopian vision and believes that the pure truth of this building is worth adhering to. Taking the earth as a source of his artistic creation, Binchuan has his own unique understanding of this land. Rice theatre is another architectural practice by Binchuan. He hopes to use it as a stage to raise the farmers' cultivation of land to the height of art. Every spring, a traditional rice planting festival is held here, and the villagers nearby will come to participate in the celebration. In autumn, a harvest festival is held on this stage. Traditional agricultural activities are endowed with sacredness, and farmers get a sense of honour. Michelle will also join the show to celebrate the farmer's harvest. Here, the idea of integrating art and cool agriculture envisioned by Fang Xinchang is becoming a reality. People who live peacefully in Fengyu regard it as an experimental field to revitalise the countryside. Every step of their practice is the hope of the countryside.
亲爱的朋友们，感谢您收看这期的特别节目。这期的节目介绍的是我的家乡大理，一个不一样的大理，一个不一样的大理的故事。那么接下来呢，我们会有陆续的几期节目会为您介绍一个不一样的大理。如果你感兴趣的话呢，就订阅我们的频道。谢谢您收看我们这期的节目，我是爱旅游爱生活的丽丽，我们下期节目再见，拜拜。Thank you that you watched the Dali special. This is the Lily channel. I hope you like it. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.